The bias binder foot is a snap-on foot that creates a perfectly finished edge on garments or even small craft projects. To begin, I'm going to be using a piece of fabric that's about 1 inch wide. And as you probably already know, anytime there's an adjustment screw on the foot itself, that allows some movement of the foot. Let's take it to the machine and see how that works. So here, let's take a look at this foot. Now, just like any other type of bias binder foot, it's always a good idea to cut the edge of your fabric that you're going to introduce at a 45-degree angle. And as you can see by looking at this foot, when you start feeding the fabric in, it's going to start taking this 1 inch wide strip of fabric and it's going to self-fold that fabric to create a finished edge. Now, I always find it easiest to use a stiletto or a small tool to help aid in feeding the fabric through. And once I have it down at the bottom of the foot, this is traditionally where I'll just pull a little bit more fabric through and underneath the foot so I can see that everything's feeding well. So when you look as this fabric's coming through, it's turning under and in, both top and bottom. And actually what you can see is this cupping here as the fabric's coming through. And you want to ensure that that's happening before you place this underneath the foot of your machine. Now, the adjustments that we have available to us, this piece can move side to side so that I can get it positioned where I want in front of the needle. And ideally, I know that as it's coming through, I want to have that needle coming right on the farthest left side. And so let's just take a few stitches on the fabric as it's coming through by itself. And you can see that I'm right on the edge, but I'm just a little bit too much on the edge. So I'm going to use my stitch width to move my needle over just a tiny bit. And now that I have that there, let's start introducing the fabric that's going to be encased by this binding. And I'm going to do that by sliding this forward. And again, I like using my stiletto to feed this fabric in. And you'll probably want to raise your presser foot as well so that you can tuck this fabric down and it doesn't get caught on this metal piece before you start stitching. So once I've done that, I'm just going to start by taking a few stitches. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my hand position. This hand's job is to move the fabric over so it goes all the way into that little part of the bias binder attachment. And this hand is going to lift the fabric just slightly so that it continues that curling process that it was doing. And now what I like to do is before I continue my project, I'm going to swing this fabric over and look at how it's catching right on the edge. It's doing it on both the top and the bottom. I'm very pleased with how that looks. And now we'll just finish this edge. Now, something that I will mention here is that to get started with this bias binder attachment, you're better off doing straight edges of fabric to begin with. But you can successfully go around curves. You just probably need to have a little experience under your belt first. One of my little secrets is that if you've done this well, you can actually make yourself some nice little ties that can be used if you're making baby bibs or you want to make some little straps for something. This is beautifully done. And here's the edge of my fabric. So this looks beautiful. And if you're looking for a foot like this, head to your local Baby Lock retailer. They're full of inspiration and other foot ideas.